your face, but you wouldn't be looking
You
for
wouldn't be
it.
looking for it, yeah.
Yo, we back with yet another episode of Gold Mine Mondays. I'm your host, Billy Slong. And before we get into today's episode, anytime I don't have a gold nugget for the day, y'all know how I do. I always ask my guests what's their greatest thought. And my guest today said that we should set goals and attack with intention. I like that. Solid. So the gold nugget for the day is to set goals and attack with intention. That's deep. On so many levels, man. So again, it's Gold Mine Mondays. I'm your host, Billy Slum, and today's guest is none other than GQ Smooth. I appreciate you stopping by, my brother.
Appreciate you having me, fam.
Yeah, man.
I've been looking forward to this. Like, you were one of the number one spots I wanted to come and hit. So
Word.
I'm glad we finally getting this out.
Okay, that's what's up, man. I appreciate the nod, man. I appreciate the appreciation, man.
No doubt.
So many times, people say they're gonna show and some might not show. Well, we ain't gotta get in that, but the fact that you appreciate the, opportunity. I appreciate the opportunity as well. So it's
likewise, brother, for sure, man.
Yeah, man. So GQ Smooth Artist. I start every episode and I ask every guest, where did you fall in love with this thing of ours, man? This art, because you in the multiple sides of the art, you know what I'm saying? But more specifically, I do want to know about the music, but I want to know about all of it because you do a multitude of things. We're gonna get into that.
For sure.
For you, where did it start?
It started for me 2 years old, man. Grandma's kitchen, pots and pans. Taught myself how to play drums. It was all history after that, for real.
With the pots and pans, and you was playing drums at 2 years old.
2 years old, taught myself. God is my witness. I can pick up my phone and call my grandma right now. She was from
Wow. That's dope.
That's how I started.
Pots and pans.
For sure.
From pots and pans to practicing in the crib or straight to the church or
really both. Pots and pans. Of course, grandma thought I was making all the racket in the world, but she kind of started she started kind of like sitting back and like letting me do my thing. And she realized, like, as I kept hitting a different pot, a different pan, a different sound that would come and I would recognize it. Of course, I'm 2 years old. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I was noticing sound. Like, sound was captivating to me at that time. So at that time, that's when she kind of like let me do my thing. Because then she kind of saw that was the way that I kind of stayed occupied and out the way. And then from there,
she had a double plan.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then from that, every Sunday, being raised in church, man, I would, sit out in the congregation with my moms and my granny. But once I started knowing about them sounds, I was straight up in the musician corner. I'm watching the organ player. More directly, I was watching the drummer. But of course, I was listening in to the organ player, how they come in, choir, the different, the sopranos, your altos, and all that. Like, I just really started getting immensely addicted. Like, I don't want to say addicted, but I really fell in love with just sound and how it came together. Of course, music, you know what I'm saying?
I feel it. So
from there, being in the church, watching the drum all the time, I would like watch his movements, watch how he probably like came out the pocket, you know what I'm saying? Put the groove line in. Granny bought me my first drum set. And I went through about like 5 of those. But yeah, I was definitely whooping them drums, man. I was beating them things to death. But all in all, man, that really like where the craft of just like loving music started for me, for sure. Musician first, for sure.
Okay.
I still play drums to this day.
Yeah, I seen you get down. I think you posted on your Facebook. You were getting down one time.
Yeah.
I said, okay, check about that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So as far we know about the church, but explain the sounds in your home. Like, what type of music? What was the vibe?
So at the house, it was like spread out. So at home, really wasn't a lot of music, but it would be like with my mom, it would be like the R&B. So like, the Mary J. Blige, Michael Jackson, love Luther Vandross, Sade,
I think Luther in every black household, man.
Come on, bro. Like, Luther's one of my top favorite male vocalists of all time. That is the GOAT. Like, he's another, like, I'll say, like, listening to Luther, Donnell Jones, Jaheim, like them early 2000s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I didn't have it at that time, but I just loved how like they just vocalize their notes and like I just love how they sang. Like it was just amazing to me.
Yeah.
So hearing a lot of that on that one side with my mom going to and from school, like during the weekdays, my mom would play gospel music. So of course, I'm heavy into the gospel. Then of course I'm playing in the church and studying in church. So gospel was definitely heavy in the influence with me in that. R&B, and then of course when we had the like family cookouts, family gatherings with grandma, granddad, uncles, and all them, OJ, Spinners, Temptations, Earth, Wind, and Fire. You know what I'm saying? All that good soulful, 70s vibe.
And the reason I asked that because you said 2 years old, you just started beating on pots and pans. What was the inkling for that? You just, I know like babies, they like to pull out the pots and pans on the cabinet. That's all babies do that.
For sure.
But you just sat there and just said, boom, 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 let me make some sound.
Yeah.
And patterns or whatever. So I'm trying to figure out, was it a soundtrack or was it just like instinct for you?
I think it was instinct, just directly from like God. So like another part of it that kind of like in a way blew my mind was when I met my father at the time when I met him. I always just knew like it was already understood that music and just playing drums and making it was like a God-given talent. Like it's not difficult for me to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's fun for me. I love it. This is like my biggest passion. Yeah. But then realizing that my dad played drums, I was like, wow, I see why I like directly get it from
DNA.
And then recently with my grandmother, my dad's mother, talking to her one time recently, I asked her about my grandfather, my dad's dad.
Yeah.
Because I never got to meet him, and he's deceased at this time. But I asked my grandma, I said, "Granny, what was granddad like?" You know what I'm saying? She's like, "Oh, I said, baby, you know what I'm saying? A short, well-dressed man, very charming, very intelligent, very talented. Say that he was even in the music, like he sang, and he was a preacher."
That's what's
I was like, wow. So you know what I'm saying? Just that kind of let me like know. You know how they say like about history, like if you know you came from, you can know where you're going.
Yeah.
So that kind of like it was really just more inspiration. I was like, okay, then like this is something that just it's in me. It ain't just something I do. Like this is in me for real.
Okay, so, that's dope, man. Because I mean, for me, similarities. I don't play drum, but I would beat on everything. Like I was if somebody rapping that, I was the one doing the.
Oh, I definitely did that. I got in trouble for that so many times at school, elementary school, bro. Like I'll get done with my work.
Take that pencil.
And then I'll take that pencil and the pen and just get the whamming on the table. Yeah. And my teacher's like, excuse me, can you stop by that? I'm like, oh, my bad. You know what I'm saying? But the other funny part about it was like, it would be ways they'll lean into it and support it. So I went to Progressive Christian Academy growing up. And so, of course, for those that know,
that's real making.
That's real. That's OG Pleasant Hill type stuff. You feel me?
Yeah.
But when I was in school there, I said being on the tables and stuff, we would have what we call devotion every morning. So of course, we in a Christian academy. So of course, the Bible is definitely directly in the curriculum.
Yeah.
And we, sing, devotion songs in the morning. And there'd be days I would beat on the table while we was having devotion. And then it was one time I really, really, really wanted. So it would be like every class would lead. It would be like, I think on like Fridays, we'll have like a big devotion in the gymnasium. So like all the classes and everything come in, like pre-K all the way to 8th grade, because those were the grade levels. And, that one class will lead, devotion and whatnot. And I really want to get on the drums and play. And I just never got a chance. And I was like, they got to let me get on that set, man. But it was all good, though. I had other places where I got to get my vibe off. But yeah, definitely. Like I said, it was just cultivated from me from a young age, man.
Okay, so we got the musician side.
Mm-hmm.
You also are into modeling as well. You do give me out where did that derive from?
So modeling, honestly, I kind of in a way stumbled into it a little bit.
Okay.
So the backstory on modeling, I've always loved clothes and fashion. So of course, like growing up in the barbershop, my uncle's a master barber. And a lot of Saturdays I probably end up hanging out with him, or when my mom took me to go get a cut. And I would just notice how all the men, from the barbers to the men that came to get, the adults that were coming to get cuts.
Yeah.
Around that time, that's when Fubu was popping.
Yeah.
Reebok was popping. So like I'm seeing how they coming in there with, part of the oversized Fubu shirt with the Sean John and South Pole jeans, OG Reebok classics. My uncle always kept a nice chain on his neck, watch on his wrist, so like he ain't probably flooded out or nothing like that, but he was always clean and presentable, and that was something that was instilled in me early, like your presence and your image going out here. Not saying you gotta do it for clout, but like, care about how you look when you walk out here, man. First impressions and everything. So that was something that is always instilled in me. Of course, growing up, money wasn't always in the big wise, so I wasn't going out here getting the brand new Jordan 4s or whatnot, but I kind of just started seeing like how to put pieces together. Yeah. So when I graduated high school 2012, one of my first jobs was in Route 21 as a sales associate. And I took that job because I just want to be able to get clothes at a discount. That was the main reason. That outside of that, learn how to sell and stuff like that. Yeah. That's kind of like some of my earliest work being like a stylist in a way. Like people would come in and they would see how I put my outfits together. And so, a lot of homies would come in like, hey, Smooth, man, we trying to pop out to, Asylum this weekend, man. I'm trying to get fly, man. How do you think I need to put this together? And I'd be like, I mean, shoot, put this shirt with them pants right there, man. Don't buy no shoes in here. Go over to the Foot Locker, go to Chinatown there, get you whatever J's or some Air Force Ones. Just keep it simple. Yeah. And, a few pieces of jewelry, man, you really in the game. You see what I'm saying? So that's how that came about. But as far as modeling, it was around, I said, like 2017. Zari, Whimsical Photography, she had this post that she put on Facebook, and it was along the lines of like, everyone kind of like pitching in, like, having that art, the artist community, we all pitch in and help out with projects and stuff together. And I remember she said something about, I can't remember exactly what the post said, but it was something along the lines of like needing some people to like be a part of a project. I reached out because I was like, shoot, it's already cool people, that they's like family. So I said, let me reach out and say what's up. So I said, hey, as I saw your post, you need help with a shoot or whatever, holler at me, let me know. Also, when I was in school for business office specialist. We would have like business casual, like business fashion shows. So at school, it'd be like, we'll walk down the runway showing what it looks like to be business formal, business casual. And then, to kind of be fun and put the funky into it, they would let us like bring our favorite outfits. And of course, in school, I definitely started getting recognized for my own personal style and taste. Like every time I came to school, they were like, yo, G, like, they were like, man, G, you always switching it up. Like, it's always like a flawed look with you, like, consistently, you know what I'm saying? Like, babe, we can tell, like, that's you. Like, no one else in here does that. Yeah. You can get pointed out of crowd just because of that. And so when I saw the post about Zara, wanted to do the shoot and everything, I reached out to her. She hit me back. She was like, okay, then bet. Well, I got her homegirl, Kayla, was the like creative director type of thing. So the photo shoot was basically about being against toxic masculinity. And basically in the sense of, men, we're not allowed to cry, feel emotions. We just got to, thug it out, be providers, tough, all that stuff. So the shoot was going to kind of be in the way like different. So the way that Kayla wanted to take it was, I remember she asked me, she was like, okay, so I've been going through like a lot of guys that reach out, say they want to do it. But then she made a mention about, are you comfortable with me putting like flowers in your beard, flowers in your hair? And of course, my hair was starting to get a little bit longer at that time. And, for other guys, they kind of, thought it was maybe a little bit not masculine to do that. Yeah. I looked at it and said, yeah, I do that. I said, I'm a whole hippie. What you mean? That's an easy call. You know what I'm saying? That's, and I got a bunch of like button down Hawaiian floral shirts. So I said, you can just get flowers that match my shirt. That's just gonna make it even better. She was like, bet. She was like, yes, bet. You know what I'm saying? So she had a lot of other people that she had did some stuff with. But of course, I came in, we locked in, got the date, went, got the flowers, and we were doing the shoot. And of course, this is my first time ever doing something like posing to be a model. I've done like I said, in school I did like a little runway action, but nothing like official. Yeah. So I'm standing there posing, and I was kind of letting them direct me how they want me to do it. It was like, okay, what I'm saying, like lean back, what I'm saying, look serious and do that stuff. And I was letting like Kayla like play with my hair, how she wanted my hair to be done and stuff like that. And so in the midst of doing the shoot, I'm kind of just sitting back here kind of like, just following their lead. And I noticed that like Zara and Kayla, they'll be snapping the pictures and they'll look at the camera and they'll kind of have like I guess like a facial expression to each other, like, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't understand what it was, but I'm looking like either it's good or it's bad. And so, as I said, yo, we good? Like, am I doing it the way I want to? And they were like, oh no, you great. You good. Just keep doing what you're doing. I said, okay, bet. So they kept snapping more pictures. And the same thing just kept happening. So they asked me. I mean, Zara, she just started snapping pictures. She put it on the camera. She said, GQ, you ever model for real? And I said, what you mean? She said, like, have you ever like just been like model? Like she said, I know you do music and you rapping all that, but have you ever thought about modeling as well? And I said, honestly, no, not really. The most I did is like just stuff at school, but that was just participation type of stuff. She said, looking at these pictures, and remember, these are raw pictures I just share. No edit. She just took no edit. She's like, these pictures looking kind of fire. And she was like, as a female, and me knowing what girls like in pictures, and especially when it comes to dudes, she said, these? Yeah, she said, you're gonna get noticed with these. I was like, oh, okay. And then from there, I was like, well, I guess somebody started add model to the bag. And that's really how it came about. From there, I'm out in a few hair shows because, it allowed me to get my hair done for free. And I kind of needed that. You know what I'm saying?
Let's go us, ain't
you know what I'm saying? But, it was a win-win. Like the hairstylists were like, yeah, I need a model with locks. Oh, I got locks. Okay, bet. I'll give you a free retwist if you let me do this style and you model it for me. I was like, fine. It's no problem for me. So did some hair shows, and then of course eventually started getting into like fashion shows and rocking clothes and everything, and it just went up for me, bro. And I felt comfortable doing it. It didn't feel nothing forced or nothing like that. Of course, you always want to perfect yourself in the craft and sharpen your sword in that. But overall, that's how I popped out with that.
So we skipped over. You mentioned it, but that was gonna be my next part of it because you're an actual musician.
Mm-hmm.
You model, but you actually make music.
Mm-hmm.
So where did that start for you?
Making music came in, I say like later middle school, going into high school. Now, like I said, I've been playing drums all my life. You know what I'm saying? Like even if I wasn't playing in the church and I didn't have a drum set at home, I would build drum sets out of just different items that I had at the house and just make a makeshift drum set. And I would just still stand there and practice being in the pocket, being in the groove. I would just make beats in my head and just being the tapping like I'm on a drum set, which I feel really gave me like that real strong edge and just being a self-taught musician. Yeah. Because a lot of places I go and play, they'll look at me and be like, dude.
So you never had no type of formal training or nothing?
No formal training. The closest thing to formal training I had was like 5th grade. They were starting like a drum line at my school, and I participated in that for like a small amount of time. Now, I will say, looking back, if I were to do something just a little bit different, I would have took marching band very serious going into like middle school, high school, because I know that would have put me eons above.
Put you over the top. Yeah.
Put me over the top. And like I said, it's music, so all I'm doing is studying music notes. Because like even to this day, I'm going to learn. I said I'm gonna discipline myself to learn, but I've never learned how to read sheet music, stuff like that. It's like I said, it's just a feeling. It's a feeling. I can just feel it. You know what I'm saying? That's why I always say like it's just in me. You know what I'm saying?
Same thing for me. I get a shout out to the guys in the band. They be like, man, you need to do a note in G or what. I'm like, I don't know what y'all talking about.
Hey, look,
what I feel. I don't know scales. I'm not, Yeah. It ain't about me. But anyway, proceed.
Sure. No, but likewise, I don't know. I didn't know the scales. I didn't know, the keys or nothing. I just know, like, okay, I can hear that's a high. I can hear that's kind of mid. That's kind of low, and I can just feel where.
I just do it feel good to me.
I just go where I feel. So when it came down to getting into like actually writing and making music, of course, along with playing drums and having that fondness and that, being in school, my favorite subject was English, literature, and, language arts. I got hooked on phonics real quick. Like, I was literally the kid that was waiting to read Between the Lines. That was my favorite show growing up.
Okay.
So from there, knowing how words work, how you could, the word is pharmacy, but it doesn't start with an F. You see what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, I like how that kind of goes. And learning how, there's alliterations, hyperboles, and all these different literary works. And I noticed from, of course, read and then reading. Reading was a big thing for me as well.
Mm-hmm.
Reading and then going back to listen to all the different types of music. I'm like, they just put a lot of words together and they make it sound dope. I can do that. I know how to read. I can write. I love music. Put it together, dope song. Bet it's possible. I can do that, right?
Okay, so when you jumping out the porch, are you saying I'm going to be a rapper, or what was first for you?
Ew. I'll say at first I didn't just directly say, oh, I'm rapping. I just kind of was into the habit of doing it. So before I wrote raps, I was writing poetry.
Okay.
I was doing poetry.
Okay.
And I was doing it kind of in a charming way to impress girls in school. But I had kind of grew a fondness for writing poetry. And then me and some homies growing up, like I said, still in the church, I started getting influenced. Of course, I done got into T.I. and Lupe Fiasco and all that. But then of course I'm getting into like gospel artists that rap. Like I said, still in the hip, still just music. I'm like, if it's good music to me, I don't care what genre it really is. If it's jamming, it's jamming.
Yeah,
in
for
my
sure.
perspective.
For
So
sure.
I was like, okay, man, this is tight. So I started just writing raps, kind of like based on like kind of church vibes a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But then I still had the capability to write raps on just the other vibe, kind of outside of church.
Yeah.
Like I said, just overall songwriter. So I said I'm definitely like a strong writer. So poetry came in. And then I remember like 11, 12, I just started getting like really crafty at it. Like I remember it was some beats that, we hear like on YouTube or like beats of our favorite songs. And I remember one time for a talent show, I wrote a song called Cell Phone to a beat. And it was basically like a gospel rap. But the vibe of it didn't give off like, oh, this is a strictly gospel rap song. But you could hear some of the elements in it, like in the lyrics that I was saying. But I performed that song at I'm kind of a little bit of a head, but before that, because that's my junior year in high school, I was writing some raps for me and some homies, and like I would write my verse and rap first, and then of course they kind of was still trying to understand how to put it together, but I know how to do it. I said, well, bro, I'll just write a verse for you, and I would write a verse for them, and I would memorize the whole song front to back. Like I could close my eyes and rap the whole song front to back. And I remember the song "Cell Phone." I wrote it. A talent show came in my junior year, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm performing it. And I ended up winning third place. Technical difficulties and everything happened on the stage, and I still came out with a nice little windfall. So I was like, okay, bet. But prior to that, my freshman year of high school, a little bit of like, just being open about life, didn't know dad growing up. Mom, got married to a guy. And of course, what I thought was supposed to be a good father son relationship ended up being a little bit of abuse and some trauma that came along with it. But that's why I said writing is really where I went to like be an outlet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why I just let it all out, talk about it. But it was my freshman year in high school, and I told the story before on like interviews before. Freshman in high school, mom and her husband, they at it again. And it's so bad to the point we actually moved out the house. You see what I'm saying? Like it's serious at this point. And we was moving in with my great granddad and my great granddad, because they were still alive at the time. And it was kind of like at that moment, I'm a freshman in high school, and of course I got, I'm going through puberty and life in school, finding myself and all that. But the one thing that always kept consistent was my passion for writing and music. And it was like right then at that moment. I remember when we was back on the east side, was moving to a house my grandma had on the east side that I was raised in. And when we moved back in there and I was sitting back there in my bedroom, and it was like I don't know what beat I had on or whatever, but I was just kind of like just vibing out, just right how I felt. And after I got done with it, I just kept looking at the paper at what I wrote. And I said, yeah, that's it. I'm rapping. I said, I gotta rap. I said, like, this is the one way I know that I can make a difference. And I said that's just what I'm standing on from that moment forward. So
I dig it. So that leads me to my next question, right? I asked everybody, what's your gumbo pot? So the gumbo, gumbo consists of many different components, ingredients, whatever. Your granny might make it different than my granny made it,
For sure.
whatever the case may be. So I want to know GQ's gumbo pot. So for you, since you got you got the musician hat, you got the fashion / modeling hat, like who's an inspiration for you? Like who put it on? You know what I'm saying? That type of thing that you look up to as far as like in the fashion industry. And then we're gonna take it back to the artist side.
Okay.
So give me all of that and what makes if we were to break down a pot of GQ's gumbo, what ingredients we gonna find?
All right. And for like as far as inspirations for like music and modeling.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
you can mix it all. Yeah.
Okay. So when it comes to rap music, T.I. my favorite rapper.
Okay.
Like you can't tell me nothing about T.I., bro. That dude right there is the GOAT in my eyes. Like I rock with T.I. too hard. Bet. Along with T.I., Lupe Fiasco. The way this man lyrically attacks on tracks, it was mind blowing. I'm like, how does he do this? Like, I remember like how J. Cole used to say, like, reading the words of his lyrics, and it's like, it's not words. I'm looking at the pictures because he was like really telling like real photogenic stories, but with words. I was like, this dude is too tight, right? Then of course, Kendrick Lamar came. Then J. Cole came. Oh, another one of my personal favorites, Wiz Khalifa. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people probably they were like, Wiz? I'm like, bro, if you go listen to Wiz early stuff, Wiz was spitting, bro. He came with it every time. Whole mixtape, back to back. I'm like, yo, this dude fire. And then I like his personality, his vibe. And I honestly saw a lot of myself in Wiz. You see what I'm saying? I said, okay. Like I can see Wiz because I'm not a street dude, never gang bang, nothing like that. And Wiz, he never gave that persona either. He was just happy go lucky fly guy rolling up all the best trees. You know what I'm saying? And we cooling. Yeah. So I like that. I said I can see myself in that. And then like from T.I., it was I said like more of the bravado, like he called himself the king of the South and he stood on that. I call myself the flyest hippie on the planet, and I stand on that. So I think more just the popping my shit in a way to where it's like, and not saying not like being to like cocky or to like tear down someone else, but like, oh no, like I'm gonna shine my light. You don't have to see this, like regardless. So like I got a lot of that from Tip, and just like how he was like aggressive with his lyrics. Like, bro, I remember the first time hearing Motivation. That gave me goosebumps. I said, yo, this man going crazy. Yeah. Then ASAP, You Don't Know Me. One of my personal favorites, honestly, by T.I. is I Can't Quit off of trap music. That's the album that really just solidified T.I. to be my favorite rapper. Because I was like, and that's a mantra I still live by this day. I can't quit. Like, I still don't quit. That song, man. I'm talking about it's the same. It's like, man, it don't get old, bro. So that's like a gumbo part of like the music. Then of course, it's other people like Wale, Big Crit. It's just like so many artists. And of course, I already told you about the Luther Vandross, the OJs, Isley Brothers, all of that good stuff. Yeah. As far as fashion and stuff, but there like a lot of rappers in the same light too. T.I. he was always popping out in fly fit, so I would see that. Of course, every now and again, if I'm in the stores, like say my granny out there shopping, and all in the stores, I'm going to the magazine section, finding the Source magazine, XXL magazine, Vibe magazines, Ebony magazines. My uncle kept Jet magazines in the crib. So he kept them Jet magazines. That was protocol. You know why. Then like I see people like Fabulous. Yeah, I'm finna say Fab. You know what I'm saying? Stay with it. I wasn't aware of him, but a lot of the pieces I would see like play like Fabulous and something I'm wearing. Then that's when I found out about like Dapper Dan. That's when I got into knowing about designers making clothes. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I told you about the FUBU. Other rappers I would see, like Fabulous was the most fashionable rapper I would see because every time I saw him in a music video, I'm like, this dude always got like the matching jersey, the bandana, the fitted hat, the Air Force Ones, the baggy shorts. Like, yo, he put that together like effortlessly. And I honestly say like seeing my granddad like around town at his time, he was a very well dressed, very well known dude for just being fly. Yeah. And like I said, my grandma told me about my other granddad and seeing my uncle, firsthand, and a lot of my other, uncles and stuff like that growing up. Like I just kind of picked pieces and parts from that, and I kind of just made my own vibe to it. You know what I'm saying? But seeing people like them really is what like put me on like want to like make my own like statement in fashion, like just how I presented myself. You know what I'm saying?
Can't forget about that musician.
Yeah,
musicianship. Who's your favorite drummer?
I ain't gonna cap, man. Growing up, I wasn't on a lot of drummers, but then I started getting on songs. So like, Travis Barker was like one drummer who I got turned on to at one point in time. Then I started digging into like Roots, Questlove. He's a drummer who I rock with. It's another drummer right now who I'm really vibing with. I've been watching some of his videos recently and working on trying to get some chops like his guy named Yusef Days. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, but
I'm not. So I like when people bring up people that I don't know because that makes me go.
Yeah, he tight. He's tight like that. He's tight like
say
that.
the name again.
Yusef Days.
Yusef Days.
Yeah. He tight like that, bro. That man is by. He's like a real like jazz influenced drummer. The dude is fire. And I like that jazz vibe when he's on the drums. Like I want to get into like playing more like percussion on jazz type tracks. So like, yeah, man, dude is tight. So like those are like some of the drummers that I just always looked up to. Then of course like just drummers around town is kind of like who I seen more of. So like, it's a partner named Oompa, who is a freaking mastermind on the drums, bro. And I went to high school with bro, so and he was in the drum line, he was on the band. So that's why I speak to the point like, man, if I want to like have my head on straight, and granted tried to point me into that direction, that I was on the like I want to be like a star ball player, trying to get all the girls and stuff like that. I was just on that vibe, and I like playing ball too. Like football is my favorite sport. I like basketball. I never played basketball for school, but I like basketball and I ran track. So, I was on the athlete side because I was like, I already know how to play drums, so I felt like I didn't need the band. But then I was like, no, I kind of need to go on that band, man. Get a little more on the discipline side of it. But his other homeboys who was on good drummers. I had a homeboy named Corey. He was a dope drummer. Another homie around the city named Oscar. He's another dope drummer. So like, I'm just, I just like pulling from like dope other just everything drummers, you know what I'm saying? Just around me. I just get inspiration from all of it, bro.
Yeah, man. I had a chance to attend your listening session, man. And we're gonna bring it present day. Talk about this new project, bro.
Man, Hippie Pack EP. My best project to date.
Okay.
My best project to
all
date.
Produced by
nah. So I got different producers on this one. Not a whole lot, but of course, Home 10 on Average Entertainment, my brother El Shaddai. We was the main ones in the studio cooking up, mixing and mastering. He was making all the beats. He produced a majority of the project, but of course, the single Sweetest Taboo, that's produced by Hit Class. Shouts out to him. And I got a story about that song too.
Talking about
other songs, Call Me and Roll the Reefer, that's produced by my cousin Coltrane, who's another producer who's been like the same with me playing drums coming up. That was him making beats coming up. Like we'll be in school and everyone be talking about like, Fruity Loop when it kind of like first came out. He was the first one I knew that could go on a website on the internet and find the cracked version, and it would be like the full version you bought. Wow. Like he was literally one of the ones, and I was like, bro, how did you find that? He was like, oh yeah, man, I just went here. I'm like, okay. You know what I'm saying?
Fun fact. Bill Slum used to be a producer.
Hey.
People don't know that. And I started on Fruity Loop.
Hey.
I have patience for a bit. Yeah.
And you know what? And at one point, I started producing too.
Yeah.
I was producing like my junior year going into my senior year of high school. But then I started really just diving deeper on my penmanship. So I was more of the, I just want to get my bars right. You know what I'm saying? My flow.
So, my bad, I ain't mean to cut you off.
No, you cool.
No, Sweetest Taboo, man. That's that. I fucks with that record, man. Of course, I like the whole project.
Oh, really?
You was giving kind of like the backstory. You was explaining that the listener session. That's the one that that's your one, man.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I'm pushing that one
for sure.
Strong.
So you say you had a story about that song.
Oh man, that's a good story. All right, so Sweetest Taboo, how it came about. So, of course, for those that have been rocking with me, of course, when I dropped Smooth was here in 2020, I was, young, single. on the grind, out here pushing the music.
Mhm.
And of course, I said, I was popping up with the fashion too. So I'm doing music and fashion all at one time. And for most, 2020 was a pretty, and I'm not taking away from it. It was a pretty tough year for a lot. For me personally, it was a pretty good year for me because I was able to not have to focus on like work, work, work. It's like, okay, music. I can wake up,
Be
work
free,
out,
be
and I'm in the
creative,
lab. I'm in the lab studio working. Like that year, bro, I dropped 2 mixtapes and then my album on my birthday that year.
That's
So
what's
like
up,
I was
man.
grinding on top of doing fashion shows and everything. So basically coming into Sweetie Taboo, I had just dropped. So this is year 2023, y'all. Just give some, some context.
Yeah.
So I had just dropped Put It On Me, produced by KP of Blueprint. Right.
Pratt.
Yeah. Shouts out Pratt. I had dropped that song in February and performed it at Love Wine and Dine. Now, how Sweetie Taboo come in the picture is I want to work with basically every producer from the city of Macon. Cause I'm like, bro, we from a very rich history of Music City.
Mhm.
We are contributing to the continuing legacy of that. So why would I not work with producers in my city? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It feels better to make a platinum hit with someone that's from my city. Cause you know
I
what I'm
would
saying?
agree.
You feel
I
me?
would
So
agree. Yeah.
I said, I gotta get and tap in with my producers from the city. Of course, I'm always tap in with my boy Nate. I always tap in with my cousin Coltrane, but I want to tap in with more producers. So by this time, I had worked with Nate, Coltrane, a producer in Atlanta named Domino, and Black Mel. He had produced a couple tracks for me. So when I seen Craig had made a post saying, "Hey, artists tap in, I got beats going," I tapped in, sent him a message. I said, "Hey, Craig, what's going on, bro? I want to tap in and get some beats." And I was a fan of his work because I seen a lot of what he did for Ray. And I was like, okay, then I like how he do his stuff for Ray. So one way he type of vibes we can come up with. So hit him up, said I want to get some tracks. He said, all right, man, what type of sound you looking for? I said, give me like a little LA summer vibe. I like to try and make, vibe music that people can just, chill to. He sent the beat over. At this time I had an iPhone 11 Pro Max. Right. So not the sexiest phone, but at that time it was the best phone I had. So I didn't have any headphones, any speakers. And I was I was with Ashley because she was viewing a venue to be like her artillery for like her fashion design. So while she was in there, handling that, I got the phone to my ear, like listening to the beat. And I instantly caught the groove. I was like, okay, no, like this. Like I said again, that sound, like it's not the full sound, but I can kind of get an understanding of what it would be like with speakers and stuff. I said, okay then. So I hit him up. I said, hey bro, I like this one, man. What you want for it? He told me the price. I said, all right, so check it out, bro. I'm in between paychecks. You know how it is, on the 9 to 5 grind. I said, but I'm gonna have the money next Friday and I'm gonna send it straight to you. Can we agree to that? So I'm trying to do good fair business. He said, oh yeah, man, we good on that. We straight. I said, okay, bet. Instantly that night, I got back to the crib, started writing. And so, in the midst of listening and writing, I caught the sample, Sade Sweetie Taboo. Again, I love Sade. So I said, this is just perfect. Like, this is perfect. I didn't even expect for it to just come like this, but okay, bet. So I wrote the song. My intentions was I was going to do the same format and formula that I did on Put It On Me. I'm going to sing, harmonize the hook. When I get to the verses, I'm going to just rap it, straight MC vibe. So wrote the song. I got it down how I wanted to. Hit Crab back up and said, bro, I want to come record a song with you. Because, sometimes you can buy a beat from a producer and go to your engineer, which is cool. But for me, I said, I want to work with the man who made the beat because I can just tell what it could be if we work together. So we booked the studio session. I got in there with him on a Tuesday. I came in there, I had a bottle of tequila and some trees with me, kind of get me in the mood and the vibe. So he was like, all right, man, so what you want to do? I said, well, and I told him, I said, yeah, man, I'm gonna sing the hook and I'm gonna rap the verses. And he was like, all right, bet. So of course, Crab being a vocalist and a singer, great at his craft, he kind of coached me through singing the hook. Cause I was trying to get there, but of course, again, I'm not knowing how to like find my range to, singing in effect.
Push too. Yeah.
Sure. Oh boy, don't I know it. Don't I know it. So we got done getting the hook. I kind of punched in the hook to make it flow right. And then once we got done with that, it was time to do the verses. I'm used to kind of like within 2 to 3 takes, I can knock out a verse. And I do it like all in one time, right? But when I was doing it, it was vibing, right? But Craig kind of looked like he just had this look like, he was like, I think I want to try to do something different. So he said, hey, bro, I like what you're saying, bro. Like the verse and everything, like the pen game is there. Like, I ain't worried about the lyrics, but let's try something different. I said, what you want to try different? He said, why don't you try singing it? I said, singing it? He said, yeah, why don't you sing it? Like, you know what I'm saying? You sang the hook, why not sing the verse? And I'm looking like my mind wasn't like connecting. Like, I'm thinking like, bro, this is a rapper verse. If I gotta sing, I feel like I gotta write something different. He was like, no, bro, sing exactly the way you was rapping it, but you just sing it. I said, okay. But, so I said, okay, accept the challenge. Just take it. Ashley in the background hyping it all the way up. She's like, yeah, Craig, make her sing it, Craig, make her hit the note, Craig, all that. Hyping it up in the background. So I said, okay, let's do it. I'm sweating bullets in this booth, bro. I'm talking about pushing me. And then, like, when he get to the point where, like, we can hit the globe, like, he said, all right, you going to take it up on this one. And I'm already like, God damn, bro, I'm already out of breath in this bitch. You trying to make me go up.
Yeah, man.
But I am so grateful
that. Pause you right there. So
Yeah.
that goes to show you that it goes a lot goes into this music that you guys enjoy.
Boy, so much.
Especially when it comes to like, I mean, you can consider that R&B or Afro beats or
yeah, no, for real, R&B for real,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
So like, and then the good thing about it was I had got to a point where I said, okay, I know I'm a dope MC. Like I can get in the booth with anybody and I can definitely show where my bars is at, right? But let's start expanding as an artist, move. Like, let's start doing a little bit more singing and harmonizing. And that's kind of something I saw you doing a lot of too. Because I remember when you dropped, I think it was Crushed Velvet. Mm-hmm. And I was like, Slum singing like this, bro? And I remember you were always seeing Prince. And I was like, yo, this man really singing. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm always knowing you to be like one of the like just illest MCs, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, you feel what I'm saying? So like it just kind of showed me like again, like what's possible. Like you can be a cold MC and still be a good singer.
We artists, man.
Exactly. So just like, you know what, like break out the box. Like don't just put yourself just a rapper smooth. Like don't get me wrong, it's people that do that and they do it very well.
Yeah.
But it's like,
but if you have the capability to do
exactly.
things,
so I was like, you know what, let me just take the chance. Let me, shoot my shot, right? Shoot my shot at it, right? The worst that can happen is I don't like it, we delete it and just go back with the original plan. But it turned out to be absolutely like the song turned out way better than I expected because he pushed me to sing it like that.
Yeah. I think and that's why I like to watch what moves people, right? Mm-hmm. And everybody was vibing, you was playing project, but when that one come on, I seen people start that.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think I told you that night.
Yeah, you said you did. You did.
I be knowing. People be sleeping on me in my my A&R, my ear. I guess you would say. They sleep on me, but I be knowing.
For sure.
Just keep pushing that record, man. Yeah. Where the name of the project again, tell them where they can find it.
The Hippie Pack EP is on all platforms. Apple, Tidal, YouTube, you know what I'm saying?
What's your personal favorite song? Because, we as artists, we going to always have that single, right? Mm-hmm. But, we always got, like, these songs are like our babies. Mm-hmm. So which one is your personal favorite?
Off of this project?
Yeah.
Jesus. When I tell you that was the topic of discussion, like, throughout the whole process of making this project, man, but at this moment today, if I had to just land on one,
this fell because mine's
you
changed.
know what I'm saying? Is if I had to just land on one right now, I got to say, Call Me just always hits so nice.
Okay.
Shouts out, and I say this again, producers need their credit, bro. Producers really make songs for real. Like, my cousin Coltrane. I remember I hit him up. I was like, hey, cuz, I'm back in the studio, man. I need a pack of beats, man. I need some beats. And he'll only send me about like 5 beats and just let me pick what I like. He sent me a pack of beats. And I was going through them. And it was vibing, like, they was jamming. Like, one was jamming. I instantly started freestyling in my head to that one. Next one came on. I was like, okay, I could find a vibe for this one. But then the Call Me beat came. And the beat was called Call Me. It came on. It was just it was instantly a vibe. I was like, yo, I like how this song like comes on and it builds up until when it gets to the beat drop. I said, oh, bro, that's it. I said, that's it. I hit him back. I said, hey, bro, I'm getting this one. That's the one I'm getting.
Yeah.
And then I think he had sent me another pack, and then that's when I picked out the beat Roll the Reefer.
Gotcha.
They called me, I instantly knew it was gonna make the project. I said, whatever song I write to, I don't know, but this beat has to be on the project.
Yeah.
And I told him that's my favorite beat he's made for me thus far. And he's made some of my other best singles and songs, but like that one right there, that one hit every time. Every time.
Right on, man.
For sure.
If GQ Smooth had to make his dream collaboration, man, you can get whoever to make the beat. You can grab anybody to throw on the song, past, present. If you can grab somebody, go back in the time machine and grab this artist and put them on the song. Who would that be?
Ooh, boy. Okay, let me see. Rap song wise, dream collaboration.
Nah, I mean whatever.
I was gonna get like rap and
okay.
kind of R&B type of vibe. So like rapping, dream collaboration. It's obvious T.I. I gotta get a verse from Tip.
Okay.
I would definitely want a song with Wiz Khalifa. Produced by, I'm gonna say one of my favorite producers right now, Cardo.
Okay.
Cardo got wings. That man's vibe is
I did some with Cardo before. I know. Shout out to Cardo.
You feel me? Shouts out to Cardo.
Previously be in the studio with Cardo.
You did. Larry Jones.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like those would be some like rappers I really would want to work with. On like the vibe type. If we going like on the lyrical, poetic vibes, like a Wale, a Lupe. I say even T.I. again, because he definitely gets in that bag when he's when he locked in on that too.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like R&B singing, Luther Vandross, Darnell Jones, Jaheim, for real, because
I
like
I appreciate the honorable mention of Darnell Jones. I think he gets slept on.
You do?
I do.
If people sleeping on Darnell Jones, man, that's kind of criminal. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Where I Wanna Be, that whole album, bro.
Yeah.
Shorty, have you seen? Like, come on, man.
I think
man.
He's very underrated in the
That's crazy. I got to meet him one time in passing. And it was like one of those moments I had to really like calm myself down. Like, I'm really in front of one of my favorite fucking R&B singers of all time. Like, oh my God. Bitch, I kept it cool on some like vibe. And I was like, hey man, it's an honor to meet you. You've always been like an inspiration, a legend, man, and everything. He was cool. He was cool people, you know what I'm saying, everything. But yeah, those would be like some of the artists I would really want to rock out with, man. Yeah.
And what would you say you want people to know the most about your I guess your campaign, man, your journey, your campaign, your whole aesthetic, man. What do you want people to know and what you want people to remember when they press play on the hippie pack or when they experience anything GQ Smooth?
I say so directly for the hippie pack speaking. This is actually my second full length original project.
Mm-hmm.
I had 5 projects I've done total, but 3 of them were mixtapes. One, of course, is original album, Smooth as Hip. But Hippie Pack is very pivotal because this is a project of me coming back into music after kind of like a small step back for a minute. Had to focus on mental health, a lot of growing up and maturing. Because when I dropped Smooth as Hip, I was in my like mid 20s. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm early 30s. I'm more mature. I've learned a lot, experienced a lot. I don't move in the same manners that I used to, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of those experiences of growth have inspired a lot of what I put into this, music. Like for a moment, man, I wasn't even in the studio for a while and I kind of slid into like a depression because of that, because before being in therapy, the booth, the mic, the studio, that's therapy for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, have a bad day at work, go in the studio, rap that energy out, I feel better. You know what I'm saying? But now I'm not able to necessarily do that. So it kind of put a damper on me. And then, of course, my bro, he was kind of going through stuff. So it's kind of like he wasn't even able to, like, be in the vicinity of, all right, man, let's just go link up in the studio and just work out, something. And I say even on a spiritual level, man, getting back right with God, I felt like for a moment I was kind of like, I ain't gonna say I was fully separated from God because nothing can ever separate you from God. But just like me, just making that attention to get back in tune with God, like getting my head back in my Bible, reading. You know what I'm saying? Basically, like getting back to what I was raised on. You see what I'm saying?
Back to the essence.
So getting back to the essence of that. So getting back into reading my Bible and you know, knowing that God is always with me and always going to, move me forward. And the real thing that came about was coming into my 30th birthday, I was just kind of reflecting back on just life, man. And I was like, and I had did this once before and I was like turning like 24, 25. I was like, Smooth, bro, you done really came a long way, bro. You was born, didn't know your pops for over 2 decades. The first 2 decades of my life, I didn't know my dad at all. Never met him. None of that.
Wow. Okay.
So just like, that
so
was.
You met him as a grown man.
I met my dad. My dad was still out of in prison. I met him when I was 21.
Okay.
And for a lot of us, as men, it's like we 21. It's like I'm a grown ass man, bro. I ain't gotta listen to you say, but I still had that boy in me that wanted to be my dad. But of course, me and my dad,
it's important, man.
It was still like a lot of ups and downs, even in that building of that relationship. Because some family they didn't want to really support it because they're like, well, he ain't been in your life all this time. What you want to reach out for now? I was trying to have like a forgiving heart, but of course there was still things that I was just still like wanted to know and understand. That meeting my dad in a way also allowed me to know myself more. Like I said, like when he told me, like, I play drums, I'm like, damn, you play drums? Me and my dad are literally the same zodiac. His birthday is August 1st. I'm August the 19th. So it's like something like that even just commit. I'm like, dang. And then like the few times we was able to hang out before he had got incarcerated again, I'm starting to notice like me and him are like literally like one and the same. Like he can have a thought and I'll say it, or vice versa. And I was like, come on, man. Like I was literally just thinking that in my head. And he was like, well, I said it. So you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like, stuff like that. Going from being, single to being in a relationship and getting into understanding how it is to respect your relationship and grow in a relationship, being committed, you know what I'm saying? That type of thing. A lot of growth in that as well. So just through all of that, man, when my 30th birthday came, I had never been on a cruise. So I took a cruise for the first time I ever did in life. And taking that cruise was just just like a reset for me. I feel like a lot because it's like, man, I'm turning 30. I'm embarking on a brand new decade of life. Everything from back then is behind me now. I passed it. I evolved and I moved through it. Yeah. So now, bro, like I'm like in my butterfly. I'm in my butterfly era. I'm breaking out my cocoon and I'm back spreading. I
can tell, man. And I do want to salute you for mentioning like your mental health journey because men tend to shy away from that.
For sure.
And I salute you. And I want to say I'm proud of you, man.
Appreciate that, man.
Keep that, bro. I went through the same journey, and I always talk about it on this platform. So
for sure.
I think more black men need to embrace conquering mental health.
For sure. No, for real, man. It's highly important.
More men in general, not just, black men, but specifically for us, black men too. Man, because black men, we try to be, like you said,
thug it out,
be hard.
Keep it, exactly. And it's like, bro, how hard? Yeah, it's gonna get to a point where you so hard, bro. It's gonna be like, dang, bro, you can't let nothing in. So it's like,
for sure.
I had to start like, breaking down and just like understanding, And so, like therapy allowed me to like really like view my past traumatic experiences.
Yeah.
And, kind of looking like, okay, it hurt like hell to go through it, but look what you gained, you know what I'm saying? Through some of it, I learned to not live in fear. I learned to, and I ain't saying like, just be no tough guy, but like, I ain't like, don't live in fear, you know what I'm saying? Fight for what it is you want and be ready to go all the way in for it.
So back to the golden nugget of the day. Set goals.
Set the goal and be intentional.
Yeah, be intentional.
Attack it with attention.
Tell the people how they can follow you, man. How they can find everything GQ Smooth.
I mean, really, man, you can just go on Google, type in GQ $MOOVE, and everything pops up. But of course, all the streaming platforms, GQ Smooth, $MOOVE for the Smooth. Instagram, TikTok, GQ Smooth _MT. And like I said, YouTube and all that, GQ Smooth everywhere. You feel me?
Yeah. Okay. Tell me where the name came from too. Before we end, we're gonna end it like that.
Okay, so how I got the name GQ Smooth actually it's inspired by my mom's. So mom, of course, had me kind of like almost like right out of high school, young. So you know what I'm saying. Growing up, along with being in the barbershops, I'll be with my mom and beauty salons because, of course, one of her best friends, my auntie, is a master beautician. So I spent a lot of time in barbershops and beauty salons and stuff like growing up.
Yeah.
So, of course, growing up, being in the beauty salons, I'm seeing all these beautiful black women coming in and out the shop getting their hair done. And, you know, of course, I'm a young boy, so I'm enticed by what I'm seeing, whatever. And this is when, like, at a young age, my mom kind of instilled it to me, too, like, a little bit about just my presence, like, dressing me well and stuff like that. Like I said, I probably went in Gucci and Tommy all the time, but I had on nice clothes.
Yeah.
And so when I started getting older and trying to, like, do my own thing, her classmates or friends from the beauty salon and stuff like that, they'll probably like say, let's say we in Burlington and they see us, you know what I'm saying? They'll be like, oh, you know what I'm saying? He's real nice and handsome, they cute, got pretty eyes and all that. And my mom was like, yeah, he think he GQ smooth, cracking jokes, you know how moms crack jokes.
Yeah.
So when I got older and I started saying, yeah, I know I want to rap, but what's gonna be my rap name? You know, my name starts with a Q, so I know I wanted that to stay in there because I'm like, Q is just automatically in its own aura, you know what I'm saying? Like, just different. But I said, I want something that just fits me. That's not, it doesn't sound gimmicky. It don't sound nothing that I just came up with just, on the fly. Like I said, I want to be a name that sticks to me almost like my government name. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it matters and it just fits me all the way.
Yeah.
And one day it happened again. We was out somewhere. I think one of her classmates and one of her, girlfriends, saw me. I was, trying to swag it out. And she was like, okay, I see, Tez, you got because they won't call me Tez. She like, I see Tez with you, outfit, da, da, da. And, my mom was like, yeah, he think he GQ smooth. And that's when the light bulb went off. I said, wait a minute. GQ smooth. Yeah. I said, damn, that makes sense. I said, why not? Yeah, I said, yeah, that makes sense. So then that's when I went in my room, and of course I had it. Originally, I had it spelled the normal way that you spell smooth. But I said, nah, that's too generic. Everyone spells smooth that way. I want to do it different. So that's when I said, drop the S, put a dollar sign. And then I said, smooth. Like, again, who's gonna find this words? I said, I don't need the TH, but I can put a VE. And I said, yeah, I'm GQ smooth because when I rap, I make you move and it's smooth. So that's what, you know what I'm saying? So that's how I came up with it, bro, for sure.
And there you have it, man. I ain't got nothing else to say, man. Anything you want to close out with?
I'll close out with just saying this. Hippie Pack EP is just the birth of a new era of me as an artist, as a man, just in life. You know what I'm saying? When you listen to this project, if you listen to anything that I've dropped prior to this, when you listen to it in the timeline and come up to this, you're going to see the absolute growth. The elements on this project is like passion, love, evolution. So that's what, like, if you look on the cover art, the rose, that's my favorite flower. And I look at myself as a rose because through all the traumatic stuff that I went through in my early years, of course, up until my 30s, you know, is everything that allowed me to grow as a flower through, how they say the rose that grew through the concrete. I look at myself just like that, direct metaphor of that. So that's where the rose comes in, the butterfly. Like I said, that's my evolution. That's me. I was in the cocoon, and I had to find myself and myself for me. You know what I'm saying? Not for my girl, not for my mom. I had to find GQ for me. You know what I'm saying? So. Yeah. Once I basically reignited that light in myself, that's when I was like, okay, break out the cocoon and start spreading my wings. And then, of course, the hippie side is just, that's just a good vibe. It's the hippie side of me. And I say just real quick on the other tip of that, when I was 30, I went on a cruise. When I came back from the cruise, I was in church. And it was a prophetess by the name of Prophetess Lisa. And she spoke to me so, like, it was like a direct speaking to me, like, to the level of where I was like, it's her speaking, but I'm like, this is God talking directly to me, because she was just like laying out everything in life. And she don't know me like for pretty much too much. You only seen me like maybe once or twice playing in the church. But like even throughout all my life, man, pastors and prophets have always spoke highly over me. Like, God got a plan for you. Like, just keep doing what you're doing. But the one thing that she said that stuck with me, she said, God said, if you continue to keep me first and continue to put me in the midst of everything that you do, I'm going to elevate you, and I'm going to make sure that you like every dream that you want will be realized and come true. And she basically said, and she was like, "What's your name again?" And I said, I said, "My name's GQ." She said, "GQ, the world's about to know who you are." She said, "Just keep God first, and He's gonna lead your path."
Right on.
And from there, man, the fire was ignited. Like literally that same week. So that was a Sunday. That Monday, Tuesday, the intro that you hear on the EP, that was the first beat that Nate gave to me, and that just set the tone. And I said, I'm back on now.
Right
so
on.
Yeah, that's where we at now,
And
man.
that's what it is, man.
For sure.
It's GQ Smooth. I'm Billy Sloan. Let's go.
Appreciate you, man, having me come through again, man.
Yes, sir.
For sure.
Yes.
Got a gold mine right in your face, but you wouldn't even looking
You
for
wouldn't
it.
be looking for it.